Clones are a tried and tested trope for TV, film, and especially comic books, and you know what, they work for good reason, because after all, what better foe to fight than against yourself, especially if that version is nefariously evil and has a great laugh. In the medium of video games especially, clones can create some of the best boss encounters or hurdles for the player to overcome, as they know all of your moves and all of your weaknesses. These mirror matches can be arduous slogs, as you're forced to think outside of the box at the best of times, but what if the clone is actually superior to the original? You'll see lots of examples where it might not be the spitting image, but that's because version 2.0 over here is rocking more beef than a butcher's window. So come join me on this adventure today, as I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 video game clones that kicked your own ass. Number 10. Crunch. Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex. Poor old Crash, I mean, he's been through a lot in his life, hasn't he? First he gets mutated against his will by an evil scientist with a never-ending forehead, then he gets his girlfriend captured and has to save her, and then he has to save the world twice more from this block-brained scientist, and to cap it all off, he had to star in the abysmal Wrath of Cortex game. Tragic. Now, to be fair, this game does have some interesting moments, and you can't knock the sheer variety of gameplay on offer, but it was a huge step down from the Beef Boys that were the original trilogy. And speaking of Beef Boys, say hello to Crunch Bandicoot, a clone of Crash who Dr. Cortex has tweaked and refined to become the ultimate warrior. Crunch makes up the majority of boss fights in this game, imbuing himself with one of the elemental masks that have been unleashed in order to boost his skills even further. This means that you'll likely die to Crunch a lot throughout your time, as you'll not only be dodging molten rocks, hurricanes and typhoons, but also the bloody controls of this game, which absolutely suck. Still, for Crunch, a kill's a kill. Number 9. Android 21's clones. Dragon Ball FIGHTERZ, or FIGHTERZ if you're going to be an ass about it. If you're going to make a clone of anyone, you might as well make them the clones of some of the most powerful beings in existence, and that's exactly what Android 21 decided to do when her evil side took control in the outstanding FIGHTERZ storyline. With a clone army at her disposal and the ability to create more and more at whim, Android 21 soon managed to overwhelm the heroes and villains of the Dragon Ball universe to such an extent that even long-time rivalries were put aside in order to fight this new threat. Out of combat, the clones are more akin to zombies, devoid of personality and that Vegeta sass that we've all come to love. However, as soon as the battle begins, they let their actions speak volumes. While Goku and the others note that the power levels of the clones are much weaker than the originals, likely due to the rapid cloning process, they can still put up a massive challenge, and you'll often arrive on the scene to see characters getting their ass kicked by, well, themselves. Kid Boo's clone is especially dangerous, as this can actually grow in power by absorbing others, meaning that it could directly challenge a lot of the main cast and come out on top. However, against Blue and God Form Saiyan, this should be a walk in the park. Number 8. Booker DeWitt, BIOSHOCK Infinite. Can we count alternate realities as being clones? I mean, they share the same genetic makeup after all, and in the case of BIOSHOCK Infinite, we are shown that realities can become one thanks to time tears and baby swapping between them, merging what is and isn't to the people in both timelines. And yes, my brain is also leaking out of my ear. Whatever the case, Booker DeWitt absolutely destroys Comstock in their meeting in BIOSHOCK Infinite. Like, it's truly uncomfortable to watch. And the revelation that Booker is Comstock makes this scene all the more harrowing. Booker is so filled with hate, so filled with remorse for his own actions, that he smashes what is effectively his own head against a font until it breaks Comstock's skull, and then finishes off the old man by drowning him. As Comstock puts it, he'd sent armies against Booker, rained down fire from the sky, but it was to no avail. Clone or not, Booker kicked Comstock, and therefore his own ass, so hard that it killed him. Brutal. Number 7. Saints Row 4, Your Evil Twin. The world of Saints Row is a very strange game indeed. Even in the early days when you were just battling rival gangs for respect and smearing poo over people as the Toxic Avenger, things were pretty wacky. But here in Saints Row 4, you're the President of the United States trapped inside a simulation run by an evil alien overlord, and also your evil clone is running amok. I know, it's a lot to take in, right? This evil you goes the extra mile as well, donning an eye patch and growing out an evil goatee as well, the absolute cad. However, while their appearance might be one that incites laughter, their actions do not. As in this simulation, the evil you kills Matt Miller, and it's revealed that the clone is in fact creating more clones of you to take over the city for themselves. Plus, as simulations are each character's personal versions of hell, here Aisha has put you as this megalomaniac maniac evildoer because her worst fear is how much of an ego you, the player, has. Oh, ouch on many levels, my friend. Luckily, you can put a stop to this clown clone and make a damn clear statement that you are the only Saints Row boss. Well, for now at least. Number 6, Commander Shepard, Mass Effect 3 Citadel. It's not stealing if I'm you. Honestly, the clone version of Commander Shepard in the Mass Effect 3 Citadel DLC was so utterly detestable that many of us couldn't wait to fight them. From kicking your ass and sneering in your face, the clone goes on to steal your ship, claim to be the perfected version of you, and then has the gall to overwrite your DNA files in an attempt to erase you from history. Oh, and also, it's utterly mad as well because it declares that it will create a Shepard that only helps humans and not other alien races like some sort of space racist, a spacist as you will. Cloned from the same DNA as you and being only seen as spare parts by Cerberus, the clone used this anger as the driving force to take the original down. This results in one of the best boss battles in the game, if not the entire series, as you tussle and exchange biotic powers in a hangar come the close of this DLC. Even in death, the clone has a few choice words for you, asking you what the point of living is and then falling to its death even if you try to save it as an act of defiance. What a prick. Number 5, MILEENA, Mortal Kombat. Should this be cloned with a K? I mean, probably knowing the Mortal Kombat franchise, which is pretty much a factory when it comes to palette swaps and clones for their characters, seeing as Ermac, Noob Saibot, Rain, Smoke, Reptile, the Cyborgs, and many others existed originally as similar sprites, all just dunked into different colours. However, of all of them, MILEENA is easily the most dangerous and interesting from a lore perspective. Created as a clone of Kitana by Shang Tsung, MILEENA was kept as an ace in the hole for Shao Kahn to always maintain his control over Outworld. He originally chose to raise Kitana, the former king's daughter, as his own in order to keep the land in subjugation, but always feared that she would rise up and rebel against him, and so had MILEENA made in order to replace her should things go wrong. However, there was just one issue. For some reason, the evildoers decided to make MILEENA even more powerful than Kitana by fusing her essence with that of the toothy and tough Takatan race, giving MILEENA that gob that she's so famous for. However, the only words that you'll likely be uttering from your gob is, "Ouch, that's my goddamn spine," as players using her wreck you again and again. Number 4, Dark Aeons, Final Fantasy X. Okay, so I'm cheating a little bit here because these clones aren't actually of Tidus or Tidus and the rest of his party in Final Fantasy X, but rather clones of the Aeons which act like Yuna's oversized pet guardians. Still though, if you've ever gone up against the likes of Dark Anima or the Dark Mage's sisters, you'll understand why battling these clones is worth a mention. They are, hands down, some of the hardest bosses of the entire game, and were added in as an extra challenge for players to face in the international and PAL versions of this title, something which the community both cheered for and then screamed at when fighting them. But what makes fighting against these super bosses so difficult is that aside from having ludicrous health pools and monumental damage output, they often blocked off areas that you were trying to return to, meaning that if you had just forgotten some useful items there, well, you were going to have to go through them in order to get them this time around. On the plus side though, they looked immensely cool. However, it was probably of little consolation when you got your ass handed to you by your own Aeon again and again. Number 3, Gary, Fallout 3. Now, I won't lie to you, I originally made this list solely to talk about Gary from Fallout. I mean, what can I say? This guy's a wasteland legend. Now, on their own, the Gary clones that populate Vault 108 aren't too much of a threat, coming at you usually with only their bare fists and a single-worded battle cry of Gary. But when they ambush you in numbers, it can sometimes catch you unawares. To be honest, though, I really just wanted an excuse to talk about Gary on this list, so his actual threat level is pretty low. And if I was doing a serious entry on Fallout and clones such as, say, Synth Coursers, who absolutely kick ass and are obviously replicants of once real people. Still, when you consider the atmosphere of the Vault, the creepy tale behind the clone's creation, and the aforementioned single-name chant ringing out from the dark, it's hard not to traverse this Vault with confidence that everything will turn out fine. Number 2, Dark Samus, Smash Bros. Ultimate. Smash players are no stranger when it comes to clones, or as they're known in the game, Echo Fighters. Costume changes for our favourite roster members with just a few tweaks here and there, Echo Fighters often create a mixed reaction within the community, with some reveling in the ability to take on these variants and learn their minute differences, whereas others complain that this spot should and could have gone to someone else. Although when you look at the swollen roster of Smash Ultimate, you might even wonder who is left to add at this point. Regardless, Dark Samus is in many ways a direct direct upgrade on the vanilla Nintendo Hero, seeing as this evil version has a quicker roll and less ending animation lag in some moves, and other changes see her specials become slightly less situational. As a result, you'll see many players pick the dark version over the regular one, making it a case where your clone is not only better than you, but more popular as well. Oh, ouch. And number 1, Dark Link. Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. This guy. I mean, seriously, the Dark Link boss battle in Zelda 2 often ranks in as one of the most challenging and grueling affairs in any of the Zelda franchise. And true, while this is almost equal by his appearances on How to Cheese Annoying Bosses list thanks to the corner exploit, actually beating him in a fair battle is next to impossible. This is because the devs gave no special weaknesses to Dark Link, meaning that if you wanted to take him down, then you'd have to do so on an equal footing. And to make matters worse, Dark Link pops up in so many of the Zelda titles, making him arguably the hardest reoccurring boss in the entire franchise. However, his iteration in Zelda 2 takes the cake and absolute piss, thanks to the incredible difficulty curve that he presents. Jumping, slashing, and blocking at the same speed as you will test your mettle and then some. In short, he's an absolute nightmare. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 video game clones that kicked your own ass. If you want to chat to me further about all things to do with video games, wrestling, TV, film, and anything else, you can do so over on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Even though we spoke today a lot about video game clones, there is only one of you, my friend, and you are an absolute bloody ledge. You only get one chance at this life, so make the goddamn best of it. Treat yourself with love, kindness, and respect because you deserve that. You are not a bad person and you deserve love and happiness. Big love from me to you. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.